So, Laura, what exactly did you learn about the social media propaganda part of this operation and how it worked?
Yeah, thanks. So the social media aspect that we've seen over the summer in particular is just one of the multi-pronged approach that we've seen Russia engage in over time in what they would call information warfare. And what we've seen in particular with the groups like this group called the Bozkurt hackers or Guccifer 2.0 is that these personas are adopted and appropriated from real life type of groups. And then the message that they spread is much aligned to what Russia looks to do in their foreign policy.
So were they trying to convince people to change their votes or just reinforce anti-Clinton views?
So this is far more indirect. A lot of what we see is the types of personas, and a lot of this happens on Twitter, that engage in this to and fro with journalists and other influencers is about spreading a particular message. So for instance, information about the Syria conflict, NATO-Ukraine topics, the US presidential elections, particular angles of a tweet will be sent to key influencers, and then the message will also get amplified by the network of how many different users that individual or that group is connected to. What happens is the message, and in this case over the summer, one that promoted a lot of the Trump discussion or promoted the actual emails that were spilled in the DNC hack and what was coming out on those, that would be the core piece that these groups would be pushing in the way that they spread their message out to key influencers.
Now, your chairman talked about this as the sort of dawning of Russia as a cyber power, unlike anything we've seen before. Russia, of course, has completely denied connection to any of this. How confident are you, or how were you able to prove that, Russian intelligence is indeed behind this?
Well, so this is a sustained campaign that we've seen for years. What's really different about this summer is the groups that we've long tracked to the Russian government or believed to be sponsored by the Russian government exhibit a couple different qualities. One is that the tools that they use have been written in the time zone. They're written in Russian. They have the evidence of tools that are built to last. So malware that gets in a system that can be changed over time. Someone who's really practiced and sophisticated behind the build on these. Add a couple other key elements like the types of targets that these groups go after, and we start to see a pattern emerge over 7, 8, 9, 10 years in some cases for how these groups have perpetrated activity aligned to Russia. This summer's different though, because we're now seeing activity directed at the US. And in this case, directed specifically at how do you get at questioning one of the core US institutions, voting, and that your vote matters, and that there's credibility to the US system. And that's been very much the focus from the groups that we've tracked over time.
Now, there's also been allegations within the United States from computer scientists that the election itself, the results show the potential that they may have been hacked. They don't necessarily believe they were hacked, but that at least that they should be verified. Have you found any evidence that the election results themselves were hacked?
We don't have instances where we've seen that. I'll leave to the election officials and also to others who have direct evidence of the network. And that's really what's key here. We need to see direct evidence of that through a network investigation or through the people looking at that network. But from our side at FireEye, we haven't seen evidence of widespread tampering or hacking of the election. What we have seen is this broad influence campaign over time that we think is the work of groups that would be working on behalf of the Russian government.